Hi, my name's Jeff Shelton. I'm president of Dracyon Corporation, and we're going to talk to you today about air cannons. Air cannons. Well, we have replaced a number of air cannons and have improved the performance of another of air cannons. When we talk about air cannons, we're not necessarily talking about replacing your air cannons. We're talking about making your air cannons more effective. We want to do a webinar, and we're going to talk about principally two examples of where we've replaced air cannons. I am leaned toward the business development side, so I'll exaggerate and embellish a little bit. Nearly 100 air cannons we replaced, which means 80. But 80 is still a lot. 64 in one plant and 6 in the other. Can't even count, that's 70. So maybe saying 100 is maybe too big of an embellishment even for me. But there's been others, so I'm going to stay with nearly 100. What exactly is an air cannon? Remember, I'm from Alabama, so if I understand an air cannon, it's got to be pretty simple. They're simple devices, but there's one thing that you must always understand. It's like you got to treat them like a loaded gun, because air cannons can be dangerous to your health. So we always recommend you follow the safety precautions of an air cannon. Now, the first application I'm going to talk about is an application that I was involved with nearly 10 years ago, and it's involved on an SCR. And we installed 64 air cannons on the SCR, and quite frankly, someone says, why do you admit this? Well, because it's true. And I believe one of the things that's missing in business today is business accountability. These air cannons were installed per my recommendation, and boy, did I make a mistake. But if the correct procedures had been done years ago, it could have been salvaged and you wouldn't have had to replace the air cannons. But 10 years after the fact, it's time that these babies go because they became unsafe. They're unsafe for a couple of reasons. And one of the things that I say to everybody is technology advances so quick now. Would you buy a TV or a computer that was designed in 2004, 2005? Well, of course not. Technology waits on nobody. And even as simple as an air cannon is, technology catches up. You have to change with the times to stay current and to be able to solve the needs of today's clients. Why are you trying to solve today's problems with yesterday's technology? Solve today's problems with technology from today. Now, what does technology of today mean in air cannons? Well, first of all, it means getting the air cannon away from the environment so that you can work on it safely. Our competitors say you got to get the air cannon as close as you can to the outlet. No, you don't. Do they not understand the fundamentals of cleaning? They say get it close because it's got a bit high peak force. You're going to be a pressure drop. Well, it's true. No doubt about it. The further away you are, and the more bends you have, the more pressure drop you have, which means there's other ways of accounting for that, and you can still clean not only as good, but better than yesterday's air cannons. And that's one of the reasons why this company replaced it, because it's safer, more reliable, and simply, it cleans better. An SCR that you would clean clearly to the center of the SCR is a lot more effective if you clean in the first 1 or 2 rows. One of the air cannon installations that I saw that had yesterday's air cannons on, they were afraid to let me go up and inspect them because they're afraid I was just going to dog them. Well, they go, how do you know they're not working? Well, I know they're not working because I've seen the photos. They're cleaning like 3 inches. There's no way that air cannon should be cleaning 3 inches. There's absolutely no way. Well, I went up to the plant site and it took me all of 5 minutes to resolve their issue. Huh, 5 minutes, are you genius? No, I'm from Alabama, I'm simple. All I did is I looked at the pressure regulator and saw somebody had turned it down to 20 PSI. No air cannon will work at 20 PSI. No air cannon. You know, there is a cutoff point and it's above 20 PSI. So I told them, hey, cut this air up. They cut it up to 90. And guess what? All of a sudden the air cannons worked and they were in the market for new air cannons. That's where I came in, because we showed them a better way of doing it. And a better way of doing it is to get the air cannon away from the environment. And that's a big thing, especially if you're a maintenance guy. Can you imagine having to be the maintenance guy that goes right up next to the hot vessel? You open it up and the heat is everywhere. I mean, you know, I tell people, like, who do you send up to work on the air cannons? Well, who came in late today? That's the guy we're sending. That's your punishment. You got to work on air cannons because it's so hot. Do you know that in many plants today, to work on an air cannon, you have to wear gloves because the air cannons get so hot they'll burn your skin? Buddy, that's not my idea of paradise. Let's take care of our maintenance guys, and let's get them so where they don't mind working on air cannons, because if they hate it, they're going to find something else to do. Let's make it easy and safe. Safety first. You're going to hear me talk about safety, safety, safety. But at this plant where we replaced 64 of our competitors' air cannons, it was anything but safe. They installed what they call a thermal safety shield, and those things are known to leak. This was a positive pressure SCR, and so you're blowing ammonia-soaked air out of that cannon to the point where you could smell the ammonia, which is A, not safe, but B, it corroded. The air cannons were shooting off of the system. And all they did was just replace the parts and acted like nothing was wrong. That's until we came along. Now, what did we do? Now, first of all, on this application, if you know the application, and knowing the application is a key to many, many successes. If you know the applications, you know that on this, you have a line of corrosion. So you got to put all your moving parts out of the line of corrosion. That's the first thing we did. Put it back, keep it low temperature. Number two, we put everything at a level that you didn't have to get on your knees, hands and knees to perform maintenance on. You could do it standing up. Believe me, as I get older, I know how difficult it is to get up from my hands and knees. And I know that it's that way for other people too. And if you're young and you don't mind getting on your hands and knees, one day you will. Make it safe, make it reliable, and make it easy. But the next thing we did is we had to upgrade the material of construction. You know, these things were corroding out. Part of the reason is because some of the connections were threaded. Look, industry standard, if you have a threaded connection, that's where corrosion starts. Get rid of your threaded connections. We have no threaded connections. No threaded connections. We either use a flange or we use a joint where we join it together with a type of clamp system, which is a great savings in installation time. And if you have to disassemble the system to work on it, it's a great deal. I like the clamp system, and we can show you how. But we increased the power of the air cannon. Now, the air cannon we use, we went from a 4-inch air cannon to a 8-inch air cannon. And if you believe peak force is the way you clean, well, it has 5 times the peak force. But we tell you it's not how much you start with, it's how much you end with. We judge everything on how we end. So we went up on the size of the nozzle. We went from a 4-inch nozzle to a 6-inch nozzle, which gives you the penetration that you need. Penetration into the SCR so you can clean more. Clean more equals a cleaner reactor equals happier customers. So you clean more, you make the material, everything on the outside that's going to see this highly corrosive environment, stainless steel, and then you put everything so where you can work on it safely and you protect the air cannon. We, at this plant, put a butterfly valve in front of the air cannon, and so it's closed. So if something goes wrong and the positive pressure tries to get to the air cannon, no sir, no sir. We got what we call the protector valve, which is just another fancy name for a butterfly valve to protect the air cannon. We open it up to discharge the air cannon. But besides that, we keep the air cannon protected from the environment. And when you do that, it equals long-term reliability. One of the things is that we're going to show you some pictures of just how bad this system was. And if you have an air system that leaks, you conduct flow, whether it's negative or positive pressure, through the air cannon, which allows material back in it. And I don't care what air cannon manufacturer you have, all air cannons hate material, and just as all air cannons hate heat. You got rubber seals in there, and we consider it high temperature at 350, but in many applications you're at 1,000 degrees or 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. 350 is not so hot. You have to protect it from the environment for the reliability. And that's exactly what we do. There's no, I was asked the question, what makes your air cannon special? There's nothing that makes our air cannon special. We borrow technology from other industries to employ with our air cannon, but what makes it work special is protecting it from the environment. And once you figure that out, an air cannon remains a simple device. If you don't protect an air cannon, it's not your friend and you're going to think they stink. An air cannon, when working properly, does not stink. It is your friend and it can save you millions of dollars. The other job that I'm going to talk about is in a different industry, and it had different problems. But then again, it also had the same problems. This application was we replaced our competitors' air cannons on a cooler and a feed shelf. Well, first of all, the feed shelf, I know that you go, why did somebody allow them to do this? Well, it's almost industry standard where you point the air cannon up and it comes up and then it points down. Guys, never install an air cannon pointing up. What do you think the material does? It gets over there and falls in it, and boy, you've got problems. Always point down at the application if you can, or if the worst case, point horizontal. But never point your tank horizontal because it allows water to fill into it and then you have problems with your tank. Many people do not know how the regulations on their air tanks. An air cannon is governed by an ASME coded air tank. An ASME coded air tank must be externally inspected every 5 years and internally inspected every 10 years. Recently, a plant who hasn't done any of that decided that reading the rules, you fail you external, you have to test internally. So after 7 years of operation and the tanks looking really bad, they decided to get a test to test them internally. For 32 air cannons, it was $27,000. Hey, I can do a lot of damage for $27,000 on supplying new parts. Why would you test it instead of just replacing it? Because you start over at 10 years. So we're working with this plant to replace the air tanks. And one of the ways we replace an air tank is one tank can replace 8. 8 for one. So you only have one tank to worry about. How about that for cost savings every 5 and 10 years? That's significant money. Plus, people go, oh, I don't like one tank for all these ports because if it goes, I lose all of them. Well, it's designed after technology in the industry, so it's very reliable. And if it does, it takes minutes to fix. Minutes. Just know when it fails and fix it in minutes and you're up and running again. To me, because it's protected from the environment, it's a lot more reliable. In many applications, when you buy from us, we offer a 10-year warranty. Yeah, I didn't stutter. I did not stutter. I did not stutter. Oh, maybe I did. But 10 years, 10 years. Why? Because we protected from the environment, and its duty cycle is rated that where you can get to 10 years pretty easily. Now, do we really believe that you won't have to give it some loving, tender care in 10 years? Well, yeah, we do. But we provide spare parts. You pull it out, send it back to us, and we're repaired for free. But you got to take care of your air. And that's a big problem with a lot of people. But at the cement plant on the cooler and the feed shelf, the cooler, look at the picture. Look at these tanks. You think those tanks are going to pass external inspection with not any paint on it? I can tell you, I'm not an inspector, but I say danger, danger. Get the tank away from the heat. Get the air cannon away from the heat. We've solved these problems and improved cleaning by getting everything away from the environment and putting a bigger nozzle so we have bigger cleaning. Look, people say 70 liters is enough. I go, really? How did you determine 70 liters is just the right amount? Well, you know what? I'm not smart enough to figure out what the right amount is. But I do know one thing. 300 liters will clean a lot more than 70 liters. And see the following videos to see it. We believe seeing is believing. If you live in the continental U.S., we can come and bring our demo van and we can show you so you can see it. There's no foo-foo dust hidden behind this. It's just the facts. And it's not because we have a special air cannon. It's because we actually know what we're doing and we're applying the energy properly. Now, the other thing that we do, which is a big deal to me, is we fill the air cannon and then we fire it. So let me tell you what. I'm from Alabama. I've said that a couple of times. So I'm not very smart. But even somebody from Alabama knows that your air tank's not leaking if you're not storing air in it. Now, when I go to these plants and I see 100 air cannons, they all have stored air, I call them something different. I call them bombs. You got 100 bombs there, because, which is why it has to be ASME coated, because you don't want it blowing up and killing somebody. These bombs aren't bombs 99% of the time, because you discharge such a small percentage of the time. Make your air cannon a bomb only 1% of the time. Huge difference, huge difference. But did you know air leakage from these bombs is typically more air than you use to operate the cycle of air? I can tell you, we can go from a 70-liter cannon to a 300-liter cannon and use less total air. Air's air. Air's expensive. We don't want to use any more than when we have to. But I'm going to tell you what, air's expensive. Buildup is more expensive. Eliminate your buildup. If we use a little extra air, so be it. But we're not leaking air into the process and causing plant inefficiencies. That's a problem we can avoid. Now, in conclusion, what I'm going to tell you, it's not the air cannon design. It's how you install it. It's giving tender, loving care to the system. When we come to your plant and tell you we want to look at your air cannons, that's not code for, let me get something for you so I can replace your air cannon. It's code for, let us help you solve your problems. Let us help you solve your buildup problems so you don't have to worry about coming to the plant over a holiday because some of your process is shut down because your air cannon's not working. Wow. You think that doesn't happen? Just heard it. Couldn't tell if our air cannons were working, and we had to come into the plant over 4th of July. How many people at that plant love their air cannons? Not many, including the plant manager. Guys, follow the science, take care of your air cannons, and you'll join the growing ranks of people who are replacing their air cannons with modern technology. We're going to solve today's problems with today's solutions. Be innovative. Go Blue. Dracyon. Thank you.